How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Range Rover Sport. In this one I'm going to be telling you the 5 things that I've hated about this car while I've had it for the last week. And hate is a severely strong word for this one, because I don't hate anything about this car, if I'm honest. Yes, I might slightly dislike things, but it's going to be like the Range Rover video. It's going to be like some of the other cars I've had and managed to do videos on. There is not anything that I hate about this car, so please take that word lightly. It is just for the series, it is just for the video. These are things that I really might not have enjoyed, might not have liked, or they would have preferred something to be different or changed. So that is going to be what I'm going to be talking about in this video. They're not absolute deep-rooted hatreds about this one, because in all honesty it's one of the most perfect cars I've been in alongside the full Range Rover. But I'm going to talk to you about the things that I have not enjoyed necessarily about this Sport. The first thing I hate then about this one, and it has been a very controversial thing with a lot of people with this Range Rover Sport and its new design, is actually going to be where this number plate goes on the new models and the new design. There's angles where it looks really nice, it looks really good. You just have to find it, to be honest. I think the number plate should be up here, to be honest. That's where we're used to seeing them. It's lowered on the new ones, and I'm just not a massive fan as a whole of it being down there. I think it needs to possibly be re-looked at and changed, but I'm pretty sure it does change on the SV, and that might be a reason why the SV gets that change. All the other sports have had it up here, whereas this one it's dropped down. It's not too bad on this one with it being all black, but you get a lighter colour, and this sort of area around the number plate stays like a dark black grey colour, which I don't think is too nice whatsoever. So if you have a white version, sometimes this area around the number plate is like a grey or like a black, a bit similar to my Velar's grey aspect, and it really doesn't look that great. So for me, that's going to be the first thing that I didn't particularly like about this car, and it was going to be the rear design. It was the lights as well originally, but I have grown to like the lights, so it is just the number plate placement for me at the minute at the back of this car that I'm not a fan of. Staying at the back of the car, then the second thing that I really don't understand, well, I do understand it, but I don't particularly like it, is going to be in terms of the parcel shelf. So this big old boy, and the gap that you get here. I don't know why that gap is prominent as it is. Obviously when you're in the front of the car and you're looking out the rear view mirror, you don't notice it as much, but you do notice that there's like a slight shadow gap here where it is. So that's going to be something else that I thought was really weird about this one. The boot as a whole is pretty good, to be fair. You can fit as much as you want in there. You can get a few suitcases either side, bags stacked up. You can get all your shopping in, all your essentials, no bother whatsoever in this one. But you have 2 things about this boot that I didn't like, and that was there's nowhere to store this parcel shelf. So if you take this out, you've got to fling it. And in a Range Rover, you've got to have all your security up to scratch. You can't take that out and just not have it in. So that is one thing that I don't like about this boot. And the second thing is going to be that gap there. Staying on the second thing, if you were to come into the, ignore my top there, but if you were to come into the back of this car, you can see there, look at that, you can see that gap where the light's shining through. That gap, I don't know if it's just my OCD or what, but I just don't think there should be a gap there. I know what it's for, and as you can see here, it's because these seats recline, so you can't actually put that back. But then it makes it worse. Look at that gap now. The more you have the seats reclined, the more you can see that opening. So bring the seats forward, as you can see there, and raise them. It obviously raises this so that you don't see the gap. But you don't want to sit like that because that's pretty vertical, so you do want the comfort of it moving back. And then you get the gap. Oh, I don't know. It's my OCD maybe, but that's the second thing that I haven't particularly liked about this car. It's going to be, you can't get rid of this parcel shelf and store it anywhere without it making a nuisance, and that gap, because the parcel shelf doesn't touch the seats. Weird, I know, my OCD's been going a bit mental with it. When I said I was going to be a bit pedantic about the things that I've disliked about this car, I really am being picky and pedantic, because this is something I've loved, this armrest here. But the problem you get, which is going to be something I'm going to say I've really hated or not liked, is going to be when you put the seatbelt on. So you pull the seatbelt round, make that a bit wider, you pull the seatbelt round and you plug it in there. Imagine you're sat there though, it's not as easy because your body's here. You can't just go like that. You're having to put it, depending on how big you are, of course, you're going to have to pull it round you. And then, as you can see, where this would sort of aim, it hits here. I'm not really going to be able to show you because of the camera unless I spin it round, but I pull this out, bring it round, and then look, that's where you want to go down. You want to go down from here, but this armrest is there. I know it's pedantic, I know it's petty, it's a massive first world problem, but it's annoyed us. What can I say? You have to move that out of the way to get it in. So you need to lift your armrest up to the top to get it out of the way and then bring it back down. Really first world problem, I know. God, imagine the troubles of lifting an armrest for comfort. Or you have to like sort of move your body slightly to fit it and get it in there. Obviously it comes out completely fine and goes back. It's just the whole grabbing it, bringing it round, and then once you've pulled it, because you obviously want a bit of movement and freedom, you've pulled it, it came a bit too far, it's going to hit that, and then you have to sort of adjust your body a little bit to clip that in. It's a third thing, and it's really, really petty. I know it's a first world problem. It shouldn't be something anyone could whinge about. It's easily solved by every time you get out of the car, just stick that up, and every time you've plugged your seatbelt in, pull it back down. But it's just, again, it's just the awkwardness of having to do it that I think annoyed us a bit. Fourth thing that I'm going to say I hate, and again, really, really, really take this with a pinch of salt, but I know some people it will annoy at the same time, going to be colour of the centre console. Not necessarily how it's laid out, because if you're going to the things I love and you're going to listen to that video, I absolutely love this screen. When it's on, I absolutely love it. I love this centre console. One thing that is going to annoy you, it is going to get on your nerves a bit, and it's going to be, because it's piano black, and because that's such a big screen which requires you to touch it, obviously this is haptic, so you can kind of see the fingerprints on it. I'm not sure if the sun's allowing that, but you can kind of see the smudges on it in there. Obviously in the sun you can see it now. Look at all the dust on there. Look at all the dust on here. Look at all the fingerprints of touching it. You can't really see it on the camera, but there is fingerprints all on here. There's fingerprints on this dial. The piano black, there's no resolve for it really, unless you get this brushed finish everywhere, which I'm not sure a Range Rover do. And then again, I don't think that looks very nice. It looks a bit cheap and it looks a bit tacky. So it is a really petty hate. But there is people out there like me, and I know friends have got in the car, families got in the car and been like, oh God, it's covered in fingerprints, this car. It is. Unfortunately, with all touch screens, you're going to get fingerprints all over it. When the sun's shining on it like that, it's going to get dusty. You're going to see the fingerprints. When it's on, look, I'll turn it on. You can see the fingerprints in the dark areas, but when you put on a light screen, you can maybe see a few fingerprints up here. But that's only when the sun's really reflecting on it and really catching it. This, again, only when the sun's really on it. It does get dusty, but again, that's such a first world problem. Get a microfiber cloth, store it in any amounts of bins that you get in here, and you won't notice it whatsoever. Something I had to bring up, because people, when you're speccing these cars, you need to know what it's like. Piano black does get covered in dust, does get covered in fingerprints, and it is easily scratchable. Have a watch, have bracelets, have your keys chucked about or your phone, and it will scratch these things. That is just something that's going to happen, unfortunately. Other than that, the build quality in here is absolutely fantastic. It's just the touchscreen elements of the big touchscreen, the reflectiveness that comes onto it at times, because it is a curved screen which sort of blocks out as much of the reflection as you get from a flat screen, but you are going to get that dust pickup, you are going to get the fingerprints, and you are going to get little scratches on the piano black. It's just something to consider when you're speccing this car or you're using this car. You will get that. So that's going to be the fourth thing that I have disliked, not necessarily hated. The last thing then, and it is a pro and a con all at the same time of this car, it is you get under here, I mean, you're not going to see because it's so bright outside, this is a wireless charging port. The problem you have with it though is that it does not have any grip whatsoever. So when you floor this car and everything jolts this way, your phone comes pinging out of there and suddenly it's under the pedals or it's in the passenger duct or whatever. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant place to have your phone charger. Absolutely fantastic from Range Rover to put it there. It's under there. It's also cooled as well, so it stops your phone heating up, which is a massive pro. My wireless car charger in the Audi, bloody hell, my phone heats up something rotten and it stops you actually using the phone for a while. Under there is heated. It also is hidden. You can't see your phone whatsoever when it's under there, so it completely blocks out the distraction. The problem is, Land Rover, Range Rover haven't thought about this pad as such. It's just a slippy plastic. It's not got any grip to it whatsoever, so anything you put in there slides straight out, whether that's round the corner or putting your foot down, it will slide out. And again, I know that is something that's so petty, but it will annoy people. If you watch Matt Watson's video on Car Wow of the Range Rover review as well, he said the owner of the car he was reviewing put a little sticky mat in there, and that solved that problem. So if you can buy on Amazon a little sticky pad which will sit on the wireless charger for maybe £1, £2, £3, whatever, it'll not be expensive whatsoever. That will solve that problem and completely remove that aspect. So a lot of these things in this hate video can be changed, can be removed, can be edited. Obviously, like I said, you can change the spec of this and change the layout. You can buy a microfiber cloth and wipe that every day if you're too bothered. You can never have this up if you really want, and always just leave your arm on there. So there's 3 things at least that are so easily fixed in this video. But yeah, those are going to be the things that I've said I've disliked about this car. Never a hatred on Range Rovers. I think Range Rovers are the best cars out there. If you want luxury, you want comfort, you want wafting, you want an SUV, I think they are the absolute top cars. Obviously you've got your Bentleys, your Rolls, your stuff like that, but for cars that are in people's price range, because not everyone's a millionaire, not everyone's got £250,000, £500,000 to spend on a car. If you can spend an Evoque starts at 30-40 grand. If you can get into an Evoque and a good spec, the lovely Velar's fantastic, Sport brilliant, and the King, the Range Rover are all brilliant. If you can get into any of them for less than 100 grand, or a used one or whatever in the market these days, they are absolutely fantastic. Those have been the 5 things that I've hated about the Range Rover Sport. Yes, I've said it many a time, they're not things I hate, they're just things I would change, adapt and overcome, I suppose. And they are more than livable in this car. You will not really get too frustrated with this one at all. In my eyes, it's the perfect car. So go check out the 5 things I love video. Go check out the review I'll put out on this car, where I'm going to talk more about its overall use as a daily driver and something to have as a family car or just your personal car. And that'll go into all its practicality, all its comforts, all its driving settings, everything. That'll be a full in-depth review. But if you just want to stick to the 5 basic things that I've hated and loved, go check out the series. You'll see everything in there, and that'll hopefully clarify that one for you if you're looking to buy one of these. Remember, I suppose I can add a 6th thing in, which is going to be something I hate because no one enjoys it. These cars are so desirable, it means they're nicked quite frequently. Not necessarily the brand new ones. These ones in the new Range Rover, the new models, have all the new security tech in them and all the new gadgets to stop them being nicked. But as a whole, insurance companies do say these get nicked. And when insurance companies say that, that's when prices start going up. So that's going to have been the 5 things, with one extra addition of something that I do hate, and that is going to be the insurance costs on these. But you've got to think, you're spending 85, 100 grand on this car. It's not going to be cheap to insure anyway, but just that extra addition of they do get stolen at times makes the insurance a little bit more expensive, and that's a bit of a kick in the balls, to be honest, when you have to fork out a bit more than what you would on, say, a similar value car. Like if you were to get a Cayenne, say, your insurance isn't going to be as much on a Cayenne as it is on one of these, just because of the reputation these have for getting stolen. So that is going to be the 5 things with one additional. I've been OLTTV. This has been the Range Rover Sport. This has been the 5 things I love and hate series, and I will catch you all hopefully in another one. Cheers.